Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like my videos for more updates, and please check out my other videos and watch. The last update about Once There Was a King. Lakhan finally meets Suana after 7 years of separation. Let's continue. Jeewan was chilling in his room with his finger in his nose. Rani comes there and scolds him for that. Jeewan asks why she came into his room. Rani calls herself his friend. Jeewan disgusts says that she is a maid and he is a prince. He watches Grandma on the window and says if she can teach him riddles, then they can be friends. Rani cheers and assures that she will turn his turtle-like mind into a rabbit. He forwards to shake his hand with her. She avoids. Grandma comes to Raja, who had been restlessly waiting for Rani. Grandma heavily tells Raja that Rani is with Jeewan. Raja wonders if Jeewan is teasing Rani. Grandma says that they are now friends. Raja couldn't accept this. Grandma says that Rani is a good girl. He could have given Rani more money till yesterday, but since Carl loves Jeewan more, he might be able to pay her more money. Raja doesn't accept that Rani can betray him ever. Raja runs up. Grandma says that his eyes will betray him. Rani tells Jeewan counting about a few samosa. She asks if he has 5 samosa and Raja takes 2. How much is left? Jeewan says that he doesn't give samosa to anyone. Rani asks to teach him with his fruit nearby. Jeewan drops a mango and bends to pick mango up. His pants torn. They both laugh. Raja comes to question Rani why she came to be friends with Jeewan. Rani remembers that she promised Grandma not to tell Raja, who asked her to do so. Rani was speechless. Raja calls all the girls to be alike, selfish. Grandma thinks that she spent a whole 7 years after Raja. She cannot let her ruin that. Rani demands what he means by selfish. Raja tells Rani that he proved to be her friend and gave her money. Rani argues that Raja did not buy her like a doll. She cannot always abide by him. She isn't a servant of Raja. Raja twisted Rani's hand. The both of them leave the room and part ways. Grandma laughs victoriously. She was determined not to let this crack ever fill in. She walks into Jeewan's room. He says that he cannot bear that girl anymore. Grandma brings him to the table full of eatables. Jeewan gets crazy. Grandma caresses him to do what she asks for. Suana stops Lakhan. He says that he lived without her and his daughter for 7 years. He thought that he wasn't in this world and she waited for him. Suana says that she did not shed tears for the last 7 years, but now they have betrayed. Lakhan was determined not to let Suana stay in the palace anymore. He won't even let the king's mother alone. He asks her to go home and get ready. Suana tells him that in the evening, Carl and Grandma will go out to the club. Lakhan promised to come on the back wall of the palace in the evening and he will pick her there. Rani comes to school and laughs watching the teacher snoring. Raja and Bindu mind. Rani slaps the tray on the table. The teacher wakes up at once. He asks Jeewan for the homework and appreciates Jeewan has written all the answers. Rani boasts. Raja shows his work. The teacher appreciates Jeewan's over Raja's and leaves for lunch break. Raja asks Rani if she helped him. Rani says friends help each other. Raja teases Rani by giving her marks to Bindu as birthday present. Bindu goes to show it to everyone. Rani was upset. The king's mother comes out where Lakhan sat on the floor annoyed. She gives him tea and sits beside him. Lakhan says whatever she did will not change what she has done already. The king's mother tells him that she was worried for Rani. Lakhan calls Rani as his daughter. He tells the king's mother that they are going out of Armakot, but this time 5 of them will leave. The king's mother wonders how she will bring Suana and Bindu. Lakhan says no one in the palace knows about Rani. He will save Rani from that grandma, but his wife and daughter as well. Raja complains to Rani why she gave his food to Jeewan. Rani says if Raja had given her marks to someone else, then can't she give a sandwich to Jeewan? Rani forbids him to be jealous in every matter. Jeewan was happy at this fight. Suana comes back to the palace happily. Lakhan jumps into the palace wall. He spots her car and thinks that Grandma hasn't left yet. Still, he cannot leave without meeting his Bindu. Rani comes to Grandma then, telling her about Jeewan's progress in studies. Lakhan was shocked. Grandma appreciates her and promises a gift for this. Rani asks her to remember her promise about helping her grandmother. Lakhan thinks about his promise to the king's mother. Grandma leaves. Suana comes to the door awaiting Lakhan and calls Bindu. Lakhan holds Rani and runs outside. Suana was worried why Lakhan did not come to meet her. She must inquire if everything is fine at his home. She wonders how she will leave Bindu alone. Lakhan scolds Rani for lying to them. Rani tells Lakhan that she doesn't want to lose her grandmother. Rani narrates him everything, from Swanna's promise to her confrontation with Carl and Grandma's challenges. Lakhan holds her head. Rani says Grandma came out to be a real witch. She took all her money. Lakhan shouted, "Who asked her to go to the palace? She must never go there again." Rani argues that what about her money? Lakhan slaps Rani, forbidding her not to talk about it again. The king's mother comes to defend Rani and asks how dare he held a hand over Rani. Lakhan thinks that the king's mother will not be able to bear the truth that Rani was close to Grandma. The king's mother asks Rani. Lakhan forbids Rani not to say a word. They will leave this place in the next 4 days, and in these days, she won't leave this house. Rani runs inside. Lakhan thinks that Swanna kept on looking for his way today. How will he meet them now? The king's mother thinks that Lakhan is hiding something. She would ask Rani about it tomorrow. The next morning, Rani asks Lakhan why he is upset when the mistake was hers. Lakhan says hers was not deliberate, but he held his hand over her deliberately. He joins hands to her not to ask questions, but she cannot go to the palace no matter what happens. There is a knock at the door. Lakhan asks her to open the door. The guards come home with a doctor. The doctor asks Rani about her grandmother. Grandma sent them for her treatment. Lakhan hides himself and tells Rani to send them away. Rani makes up a story and says that she is away for 3 to 4 days. Lakhan asks Rani why these guards came. Rani tells him the whole story about Grandma's promise. Lakhan says that Grandma is again trying to be nice. She wants to repeat the story. Lakhan asks Rani what would happen if she doesn't go to the palace. Rani clarifies that she will come here searching for her. Lakhan thinks that Grandma is still unaware whose daughter is Rani. If someone from the palace comes here, then they would know. He cannot let Rani's truth be disclosed at them. Rani calls him and demands what he is thinking about. Lakhan says Rani will go to the palace until they get a chance to leave this place. She must not say anything from anyone in the palace. Rani demands how she can be silent. Rani asks why. Lakhan orders her and takes her promise over his head not to answer anyone or argue, else her father would die just the way her mom died. Rani swears not to speak to anyone there. Rani now takes his hand over her head, not to leave anywhere. Raja tells the guard that he will not eat anything until Rani comes. The guard asks if a prince will leave food for a servant. What if Grandma comes to know about it? Amrita stands in the window. Raja breaks the glass on the floor and asks the guard to go and complain to Grandma. He doesn't care. He comes out and confronts Rani. He says if she has accepted that defeat, that is why she is speechless. Rani doesn't say a word, but she thinks that she cannot bear standing in front of him. He calls her stubborn. Bindu asks whom he is calling stubborn. Raja says that there is one. Why talk about her? Raja asks Bindu about her birthday party. He calls a friend to be a betrayer. Rani turns around to look at Raja. Raja says betrays is when people look towards others leaving their friends. Rani was cooking bread in the kitchen. She burns her hand and thinks that she wants to cry, but she cannot go to anyone. Raja is angry pointlessly, but she cannot get a chance to turn him and Jeewan into friends. Amrita drags Raja into a room. Raja asks why she is doing this to him. Amrita says he has proven today that he is Cow's son. Then why is she doing this to Rani, her friend? Raja tells Amrita that Rani made friends with Jeewan. Amrita explains to Raja that Rani only became friends with Jeewan, but did not tease him at all. Then why did he tease Rani by making her upset? Raja asks Amrita, saying that he doesn't want to be like Carl. Amrita asks him to go and apologize to Rani. He runs away to apologize. Grandma comes inside saying that Carl is right. She cannot turn Raja into a prince. Amrita says that she can make him a good man. It is more important for her than her son becoming a prince. Thank you for watching my videos. Please click to watch more of my videos, and please make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell, and please like my videos. Thank you.